It's the one and only Petey Marbles, Pete Blackburn. How are you, bud?
I'm good. How are you?
Great to see you. Great to have you on the show. So we had to have you on the show, obviously, because it's Bruins and Golden Knights on ESPN a little bit later on. What are your thoughts going into this game?
I'm excited. I mean, it's a rare matchup. You don't see it too often, but two good teams, two teams that I particularly care for. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right, we wanted you on the show partially because we wanted to celebrate, well, not celebrate, we wanted to examine, that's the better word, examine Brad Marchand and all of his various trollings. So we're going to
celebrate him.
You could celebrate him.
You definitely
You can celebrate him.
As a Bruins fan,
So we're going to take a look at 5 moments for Brad Marchand and try to figure out where they fit on the Marchandometer. Now, first off, I'm going to give the Lady Bing to this moment. Brad Marchand hoisting an invisible Stanley Cup in Vancouver to celebrate the Bruins win there. To me, this is innocuous. Your thoughts, Pete?
Yeah, I think that this is a good one. I think that at the time when it happened, I thought it was great. I think there's been too much of the hey, I've won a Stanley Cup thing since then, because he's now lost more than he's won. So I think you got to win another one before you can go back to the hey, I've won a Stanley Cup before type deal.
All right, we're going to go one step up on the Marchandometer to the, oh, come on, bro, moment in which he is standing next to Cam Atkinson and then standing on top of Cam Atkinson's stick and breaking the thing with his skate.
Oh, he tried a couple times, too. Oh, there we go, man.
Whatever gets you an advantage, I'm all for. And if you can take out the other guy's stick, it gives you a pretty significant advantage. So I think that one's pretty good.
That's in overtime as well. And by the way, Marchand said this about that after the game.
Speaking of sticks, did Atkinson's stick get away for a skate?
Yeah, I think he was trying to dull up my blade there. Send me to the room to get it sharpened. It's kind of rude of him to do.
Exactly.
Woof.
I know. Very rude, very rude. All right. I'm going to give the most annoying rating on the Marchandometer to his trolling of the media, which, I take personally as an exalted member of the media. One-word answers. This is what he gives you sometimes.
Thanks, Jim. Brad, you said after the third game of the series, there's no panic in the room. What can you say about the way your group handled the next 3 games and ultimately advancing to the conference final?
We did a good job.
Tuukka Rask was saying this core isn't getting any younger. What do you make of the opportunity that lies ahead of you?
It's been fun.
So I see where this is going here. I'll ask you one more about your line. It got back together. You had said the chances over there were just starting to bury it these last few games. What kind of zone are you 3 in?
We're good.
Thanks.
Pete, you're an award-winning member of the media as well. I don't know if that's true, but you are a member of the media, I think.
Should be.
What did you think of trolling the media for Brad Marchand?
Hey, I think anytime you could put the media in their place, and it's welcome. We all need to be put in our place once in a while. And hey, Marchand Lunch does it, and everybody loves it. But when Brad Marchand does it, he's annoying. So, sometimes you need to be put in your place, Greg.
I have a follow-up to this. I actually love Brad Marchand on social media, some of the stuff that he's been saying, like the Oilers' response about Draisaitl and McDavid re-signing and escrow, etc. Where do you rank Marchand's social media game?
It's pretty high. I think my favorite one was however long ago when the Leafs were trying to re-sign Mitch Marner, and he suggested that he deserved a deal for $12 million annually. That was probably my favorite one.
All right, I'm going to give this next one a yikes on the Marchandometer, which of course is his incident with Justin Williams. This was one of those deals where there's a little bit of violence involved in it, along with trolling. Let's take a look at this one. A little bit of a high stick here on Mr. Game 7. But then he gets a little funny afterwards and tells him to go to the penalty box, which I think is a classic Marchand moment. Pete, what are your thoughts about this one?
Yeah, I feel like this is the perfect encapsulation of Brad Marchand, because you have, the dirty play and the unsportsmanlike, and you kind of roll your eyes, and then immediately after he wins back your hearts by trolling Justin Williams and throwing the C on his chest to mock him on the way to the penalty box. And then after the game, Justin Williams has no other option than to be like, well, I should have known better, and that one's on me. So I think that was like the perfect Brad Marchand experience.
That's the best part, is that Justin Williams says, it's on me.
Right, without
That's
question.
the best part of the whole thing.
Because at the end of the day, you got to respect game, right? Game, respect,
man,
game.
that's hilarious.
All right, finally, the most egregious one. We wouldn't be doing this countdown without including these highlights. Of course, it is the infamous licking incidents from Brad Marchand from a few years ago. Licking Leo Komarov, licking our colleague Ryan Callahan. And the NHL at one point having to come down and saying, "Hey, buddy, why don't we stop licking people?" Pete, you obviously have talked about this ad infinitum through the years. Your thoughts in hindsight on Licking Gate?
It's just absurd. I mean, anytime you go to work and you end up licking somebody in front of thousands of people, it's absurd. And to do it and the way that he did it, and to kind of get away with it the way that he did it is outrageous. It's just off the charts absurd. But now it's become the most shared image of Brad Marchand on social media whenever you say anything positive about him. So he'll never live that one down, I don't think.
I also love how Callie and Marchand had a moment at a game earlier this year, because Callie was between the benches and they kind of addressed it, where Marchand was like, "Sorry, Callie." Like, well, what do you say in a moment like that? It's hilarious.
I got to follow up though, Pete. What is more shared, Marchand licking or the glove over the mouth and him crying afterwards on the bench? Which one do you get more play?
Well, I mean, personally speaking, I get probably the crying one after the Stanley Cup. So you're probably right. I will retract that statement.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, last question for you, Pete. Probably our most important one. You went to a Bruins game recently. It was in Los Angeles, and all of a sudden you become the CEO of Getty Images somehow, some way. You end up with like the most perfect picture in the database. How on earth did this happen?
I don't know. I mean, they just found the happiest guy in the building and took a picture of me. I mean, the last 4 games, I think, for the Bruins that I've gone to have been when they were eliminated by the Islanders in the playoffs. Then I went to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final when they lost. I went to Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final when they lost. And then, I also went to Tuukka Rask's last game before he retired. So all those games are just absolutely devastating for me as a Bruins fan. So to watch them hang a touchdown on the Kings, I was the happiest guy in all of Los Angeles. So thankfully, somebody was there to capture my one happy moment in life.
Incredible stuff. Biggest celebrity to be photographed at a Kings game since Chet Hanks. Now, Pete, Golden Knights Bruins tonight. Your take. What are you looking for in this game?
I mean, I'm just looking to see what these, what the teams look like against each other, and I think the Bruins need to establish more consistency down the stretch. I don't know what they're going to look like in a couple of weeks after the deadline, but this is a team that has some holes that I'm concerned about. So I want to see them sort of address that and that consistency down the stretch.
Definitely have to follow Pete on social media. Also find his stuff on Bally Sports. Pete joining us here on The Drop. Appreciate you, my dude. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.